If you compare yourself to others, you may become filled with vanity or grief. And never compare. Comparison is a disease, one of the most serious diseases, but we have been taught to compare from the very beginning. Your mother starts comparing you to other children. Your father starts comparing you to other children. The teacher compares you. Look at Johnny, how well he behaves, and you behave very badly. Look at the others. Right from the start, you were forced to compare yourself to others. This is the most serious disease. It's like cancer that is constantly destroying your very soul. Each person is unique, and comparison is impossible. I am just me, and you are just you. There is no one else in the world to compare you with. Do you compare marigolds to roses? Don't compare. Do you compare mango to apple? Don't compare. You know that they are different. Comparison is impossible. And a person is not just a representative of a biological species. Each person is unique. There has never been a person like you before, and there never will be again. You are completely unique. This is your privilege, your exclusive right. Thank God that He created you unique. Don't compare. Comparison will lead to difficulties. The desiderator says, if you compare yourself with others, you may become filled with vanity or be upset, because there will always be people more or less great than yourself. If you fall victim to this disease of comparison, you will of course either become very arrogant or very upset. It all depends on who you compare yourself to. If you compare yourself with those who, as you think, are bigger than you, higher than you, more significant than you, you will be upset. You will start blaming God angry. Why am I so insignificant? Why am I not like this person? Why am I physically not so beautiful, not so strong? Why am I not so smart? Why am I not that, not that? There are millions of things in the world. If you compare yourself to people who are superior to you in some way, you will be upset, very upset. Your life will be poisoned by this comparison. You will always be in the state of depression, as if God had deceived you, betrayed you, left you in trouble. Or if you compare yourself with people less important than you, with those who are in any way inferior to you, then you will become very arrogant. This is one of the reasons why politicians are always surrounded by people less important than themselves. They collect them. That's their joy. They gather less important people around them so that they themselves can look more important than they are in comparison with them. It's stupid, but you can't expect more from a politician. Rich people are always surrounded by those who are less great than they are. They feel good, very good, just wonderful compared to these people. However, when people look at other people's houses, at other people's successes, at other people's achievements, they always feel strong bitterness, resentment against God. Religion cannot flourish in our world because people cannot pray to the God who betrayed them from the very beginning, who made them so insignificant, so ugly. How can they be grateful to Him? It's impossible. And without gratitude, there is no prayer. And without prayer, there is no religion. However, a person who understands that everyone is unique can be religious. He cannot help but be religious, for he feels great appreciation for all that God has given him. If you don't compare, then you are neither more nor less great, ugly, beautiful, smart, or stupid. If you don't compare, then you are just you. And in this ability to just be yourself, spring comes and flowers bloom as a deep acceptance of life and deep gratitude to God helps spring begin. Be yourself. These 3 words are enough to transform the whole of humanity. They can give rise to the new man. They are of great importance. Humanity's past has been a continuous striving not to be itself. So far, priests, politicians, and educators have told us to be something else. Be Christ, they say, and people who try to be Christ become Christians. Be Buddha, they say, and people who try to be Buddha become Buddhists. The second Christ has not yet appeared, just as the second Buddha has not appeared and never will. It's not in the nature of things. The creative person always leaves the known behind and moves into the unknown. To repeat someone else is nothing but pretense, dishonesty, deceit. It's wonderful to know Christ. It's wonderful to love Buddha. It's wonderful to understand Lao Tzu. But it's ugly and humiliating to repeat them, to be imitators. But for centuries, man has been conditioned to be something else. Everyone is told that he must be someone else. It destroys energy very much. First of all, by trying to be somebody else, you will make your life a mess, because you can't be somebody else in any way. It's impossible. You can only be yourself. So by trying to be somebody else, you will be distracted from your authentic being. Your energy will be wasted. You will be in constant conflict with yourself. You will be in a state of stress. Your mind will be on the side of the past, and your heart will continue to say, "Be yourself." But the mind produces so many thoughts that you will not hear the heart. You will be divided. You will become schizophrenic. One part will move in one direction and the other part will move in the opposite direction. You will always be in the state of tug of war. Your life will be tense, restless, full of suffering. Your life will be miserable because you can only feel joy if you are yourself. The rose is beautiful dancing in the wind, in the sun, in the rain, because she has not wasted herself in trying to be a lotus. The lotus is beautiful for the same reason. Daisies are beautiful. All flowers are beautiful for the simple reason that they are themselves. Imagine a rose trying to become a lotus. Sooner or later she'll end up in a psychoanalyst's office. She will drive herself crazy. She will go crazy. In trying to be a lotus, all her energy will be wasted, and she will not even be able to be a rose. Or, if it's still possible, it will be a very ordinary rose. No color, no fragrance, no dance, no song. You can see it everywhere. People look so sad, so burdened, as if they're carrying mantras on their shoulders. And they do carry psychological burden. They were burdened, and burdened intentionally. And when a child is constantly told that he should not be himself, that he is useless, Parents say, "I will love you only if you behave in a certain way." That is the way they went in accordance with their ideas. The child needs to survive, so he has to listen to his parents. All children, like roses, are beautiful. Small children under 3 years old are beautiful. You can see that joy overwhelms them, that their energy is overflowing. When it comes to energy, you cannot compete with the child. An experiment was done at an American university. A famous wrestler, a man of great strength, was told that he should look at a little boy and do everything that this child does. If a child jumps, jump. If the child is running, run. If the child starts rolling on the ground, roll on the ground. Do whatever the child does. If the child is screaming, shout. If the child is giggling, giggle. Just imitate the child. 3 hours later, the wrestler lay flat. He said, "I can't take it anymore. This kid is driving me crazy." And the child liked it all very much. When he saw that the adult uncle was imitating him, he began to do a lot of things that he had never done before. He stood on his head. He came up with many different things just to see if this man could do them. 3 hours later, the child was as full of energy as before, and he asked, "Are you not playing anymore? Why?" You cannot follow the child. He is overwhelmed with energy. But we begin to limit it, cut off piece by piece. We begin to create a small prison around the child, psychological. Gradually, the child shrinks, more and more locked up in the cage. Knowing God, you will not know yourself, but how can an ignorant person who doesn't know himself know God? The real seeker is not interested in God. He wants to know himself. This is the most basic thing, to know yourself, because from this arises all knowledge, all light. If a person knows himself, he will know God. In fact, only by knowing oneself does one become capable of knowing the ultimate, because the ultimate is present at the very core of your being. But religions say, "Know God. Try to realize God." It is again a strategy, the same strategy to distract you from yourself. A religious person has only one craving. Remember, it's not ambition, it's craving. There's a difference, a huge difference between ambition and longing. Ambition belongs to the mind. Longing belongs to the heart. They belong to different centers. When you fall in love with someone, it's not an ambitious desire. You feel the pain in your heart, not in your head. You don't have a headache. I have never heard of anyone falling in love feeling a headache, but, no doubt, every lover has felt a heartache. Heartache. That's a completely different thing. Every time you talk about love, you don't put your hand on your head, you put your hand on your heart. Your body knows better than you where exactly this center is located. The heart longs, longs, yawns, but there is no ambitious desire. One of the great Western philosophers, Descartes, walked for several years to find something indisputable, something that cannot be doubted. Only that which cannot be doubted can become the basis of convincing philosophy, and in the end he decided, I am the only thing that cannot be denied, which is impossible to doubt, because even to doubt it is to confirm it. Socrates says, know thyself. It's the same thing. Be yourself, know thyself. Knowing who you are will help you be yourself, and trying to be yourself will help you discover who you are. Ramana Maharishi, one of the greatest masters of our time, told his students, I teach you only one mantra. Who am I? Let this mantra become an existential question, not just words. Let your whole being become the question, who am I? Let this mantra pierce you like an arrow. Once you know yourself, you know everything. And to know everything is to know God. God is not a person you have to meet. God is quality. But the first basic thing you need to feel this quality is the knowledge of yourself. And the deep reason behind all this is that for thousands of years you have been constantly conditioned and hypnotized. You have been constantly told, don't be yourself. It wasn't said directly, it was said allegorically. Be a Buddha, be a Christ, be a Muhammad. But have you ever heard your parents tell you, just be yourself? No parent will ever say this to any child, for the simple reason that he himself is afraid. If the child is allowed to just be himself, he may become naughty. Perhaps he will start doing things that go against the ideas of his parents. Perhaps he will begin to live a life that does not correspond to the rules, is not generally accepted. Perhaps he will turn into a rebel. Better to nip this rebellion in the bud. That is why there is so much suffering in the world. There is no laughter at all, and there is no love. Because if you cannot love yourself, how can you love someone else? The first person to love is yourself. Until you love yourself, until love happens within you, it cannot radiate and reach others. A person who has darkness inside cannot be a light to the others. Only a person who has light in himself is able to radiate a little light to others as well.